Welcome to Daps Magic, the podcast. I'm Mr. Daps, and since 2004, Daps Magic has been a place for people to celebrate Disney and positive stuff. We've been having a blast doing that. We love Disney, we love people, and we love making new friends in the realm of Disney and positive stuff. That's what this podcast is all about. We have conversations that we hope will lead to deeper conversations with you, our friend, and our listener. We'd love to continue the conversation on social media, our Patreon, or even our Facebook group. We recognize that these conversations are much more fun when we have them with friends. We hope you'll join them. We also hope that you will take a moment to leave us a positive review wherever you happen to be listening to Daps Magic, the podcast. Earlier this year, Cotino, a Storyliving by Disney community, began to welcome new residents to this new endeavor by Disney in Rancho Mirage, California. This is a community that was built by 3 different builders in collaboration with Walt Disney Imagineers and is run by Disney cast members. This is a new type of Disney experience that doesn't include Mickey Mouse, parades, or nighttime spectaculars. It is also creating a culture of creation, inspiration, and collaboration. This new venture continues to celebrate the love of Walt Disney and what he had, that love, for the Palm Springs area so many decades ago, along with continuing his dream of creating a new type of community. On October 22nd and 23rd, Daps Magic was invited to be a part of a select group of media that had the opportunity to preview the offerings of Cotino. This included a progressive dinner that gave us a chance to experience 3 different houses that were built by 3 different builders at Cotino. This is Shea Homes, Woodbridge, and Davidson communities. The next day, we were invited to check out the Artisan Club and its official opening. The Artisan Club can be experienced with a membership that's available to all residents of Cotino. It includes a restaurant called Architect's Fork, a beach bar called Plot Twist, and access to the beautiful Cotino Bay, as well as a wellness center, and that it has outdoor sports courts, and there's also creative studios. On top of all of that, there's the Parr House, which is a recreation of the house that the Parr family from Incredibles 2 lived in. And this can be booked by members of the Artisan Club as well. The day concluded with an opening moment, the official opening moment actually, of the Artisan Club. But before I get into explaining my thoughts and my experiences of the Cotino, hear from Claire Bilby, the Senior Vice President of Emerging Businesses for Disney Signature Experiences. It's the one that's in charge of Storyliving by Disney. And these are her comments from the special opening moment of the Artisan Club.
Well, good evening, everybody. It is such an honor and so exciting for me to stand here and really enjoy this moment. It is really to celebrate the opening of our first Storyliving by Disney community, Cotino, and the Artisan Club. Today is really a source of deep pride for the Disney company, because we have introduced a brand new lifestyle experience. And at Cotino, the residents who call this place home will be able to experience the magic of Disney storytelling in a whole new way. And many of them are here with us this evening, so welcome. Cotino is really so much more than just a place to live. It is a place where residents can really discover a true sense of belonging. And we call it a place where possibilities meet paradise. This vibrant community combines world-class amenities, themed spaces envisioned by our wonderfully talented Disney Imagineers. All of this surrounded by the beautiful nature and beauty of Coachella Valley. From the Artisan Club, our central gathering place for our members, and the stunning crown jewel, Cotino Bay, to fantastic dining at Architect's Fork, Plot Twist, and of course, signature activities and recreational offerings and more. Every day at Cotino is going to be simply unforgettable. And this is just the beginning. We can't wait to see Cotino Bay Beach Shopping and Dining open next fall. This town center will offer a variety of entertainment and dining options for our residents and the broader Rancho Mirage community. None of this, though, would have been possible without many partners who have walked alongside us on this journey. From our Walt Disney Imagineers to our landowners, ECRM, and our community developer, DMB Development, and our wonderful home builders, Shea Home, Davidson Communities, Woodbridge Pacific Group, and what else can I say? The Rancho Mirage, council members, staff, and local leaders have been just fantastic. Cotino wouldn't be here today if you all hadn't poured in your talent, time, and dedication into making our dream a reality. We are so proud to be part of Rancho Mirage and the greater Coachella Valley community. And we thank you truly from the bottom of our hearts for helping us bring something truly remarkable to life. And of course, what really sets Cotino apart from other lifestyle communities are our amazing Disney cast members. Our on-site teams are the heart of this incredible place. They help transform special moments into lifelong memories. They ensure every experience here feels effortless, welcoming, and memorable. And it is their attention to detail that brings the Disney brand to life here, making Cotino so extraordinary. Our cast members each hold a light reflecting the unity and togetherness for Cotino, a unique lifestyle that blends the beauty of this nature found in the area with a touch of Disney magic. A place where new chapters begin for our incredible residents. And today, I am so thrilled that we are making the dream come true. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Welcome to Artisan Club. Enjoy.
So living at Cotino, a Storyliving by Disney community, you have basically 3 entry points where you can decide. There's actually 3 different levels. There's a cottage collection, an estate collection, and then there's the grand collection as well. There's also a thing called Long Table Park that's a 55 plus community. But as you're picking these different collections that you want to live in, there's also the 3 different builders that you can choose from. So Shea Homes, they have the cottage collection. You're going to be running in the mid millions and up to get into that house. So like 1.4 something million and higher to get into that collection. That was the first house that we saw when we went on this progressive dinner. It had a really homey feel, but it also was very mid-century modern. I love the decor, which is something that an interior designer did, and you could hire somebody if you were to live there to interior design for you as well. But this had a very homey feel. It had different little areas, nooks and crannies, I guess you could call it, that you could go to. Great closets, great restrooms, very well thought out laundry room, and the kitchen was fantastic in this house as well. This had a very nice feel without being massive for entertaining people and for creating community in the comfort of your own home. And the next house that we visited on our progressive dinner was from Woodbridge, and it was part of the estate collection. So that means you're spending somewhere in the mid $2 million and up to get into this. This was a fantastic house as well, much bigger, much wider. This one had a really well spread out feel. It also had a fantastic studio that we could go up to that was above the garage that honestly, if we were to ever be able to afford something like that at Daps Magic, this is where the studio would be. It had a kitchenette in this kind of living space, entertainment area that looked down over the pool area that was in the backyard or the patio, I guess you could say. It had a bathroom. It had a bedroom that was up there as well. It basically covered, I think it was a 3-car garage, and it covered half of that. And nice closet space, like awesome place. And I could totally just imagine it coming to life and filming Geeks Corner up there. And it was super cool. That house also had a primary bedroom suite thing that had a closet that was probably bigger than the current studio we have for Geeks Corner. It had the bathroom also bigger than the current studio we have for Geeks Corner. Everything was big and spread out in this. It had a lovely lovely office that was very mid-century modern, which was a theme through all of these, thanks to the Walt Disney Imagineers and the creative vision they brought to the community. The kitchen was massive. The living room was massive. Everything was spread out. Like if I were to describe this, and you can see the video tour and photos of this up on Daps Magic, but everything's just spread out. And this would be probably, of all of the houses we saw, the most comfortable one to invite a bunch of people over for a birthday party, holiday party, Thanksgiving, you name it. It was very comfortable, though. It didn't feel over the top extravagant. Granted, it had lots of things that were an extravagance, like the kitchen. I don't know. Like I could fall in love with that kitchen so fast. It had a fantastic long island right in the middle that you could both cook with, but also while you're having plenty of room to cook with, there's tons of room for guests to hang out as you're cooking and chat and whatever as you're going through the evening or day, whatever that happens to be. The backyard had a fantastic pool. We were talking to one of the builders, and they were saying, oh, yeah, you could even put in like I'm going to call it a hidden Mickey pool if you wanted in the backyard, because you can customize everything. And that was really interesting to hear too, because basically what happens when you're purchasing a house at Cotino is you're like, I want this. I'm going to call it foundation of a starting point for what I want my house to be. It's going to be this collection. It's going to be this builder, and not all of the builders do all the collections. And then I'm going to start from there, and I could add things, or I could change things, or I could customize things. And that was really a fascinating thing to see, because the possibilities for the houses that means in this community, instead of them being exactly cookie cutter and each house being exactly the same as the one next to it, you could literally have every house being its own unique home. And I think that's actually what probably will happen as this thing fills up even more. The third house was from the Davidson community. It was part of the Grand Collection. It also was part of the Estate Collection. Well, Davidson also does Grand and Estate Collection is what I should say. You're looking from mid 2 millions for the Grand Collection to the mid 4 millions and up for the Estate Collection from Davidson Communities, just to give you a ballpark of like what people are spending to live at Cotino. And then obviously, if you were to add a Mickey Mouse swimming pool or other amenities, you're probably going to be adding to that and looking at more and more millions. But this house was stunning. It was beautiful. And this one, it's interesting. I loved the outside for it. I loved the bedrooms for it. I loved there was a grandmother's suite kind of up in the front that I thought was very charming. What I almost think it was too fancy for me. All of them, as I mentioned before, had that mid-century modern feel to it. But this one almost just felt too polished and beautiful for me. And I was like, I almost just want to be a little bit simpler and a little bit not as extravagant, I guess. But this house was gorgeous as well. And it wasn't actually as large as the second house that we went to, but it did have certain features, like the kitchen in this one, also gorgeous. Whereas the second house, it was a very long island. This one was more of a rectangular or a square island. And the living room wasn't quite as spread out. And it actually was a very comfortable living room. It was very pretty. And then the dining area was very fancy and had some wall art pattern thing that had been built on it. It just showed what you could do with these houses and these collections to make them your own, to make them as extravagant or not as extravagant as you wanted. And I was really impressed that in any of them, as we had a group of probably, I think, 16, 17 people in the media that night. Then there's the media team from Disney that were along with us, and then all of the staff for each place that were feeding us and serving us. And in each case, let's say there's 24 people there. Each house accommodated 24 people very easily, whether they're working in the kitchen, walking around with appetizers, desserts, whatever. And then all of the people that were interacting with each other and taking pictures and filming tours of each house. And as we were going through each of these houses, they were different sizes. They had different personalities. They all felt that mid-century modern. They all had something almost unquantifiable that was like, oh yeah, this is definitely Disney. Like it just kind of had that It almost reminded me of Discovery Tower at Disneyland Hotel now for the DVC Club, where it just has that not in your face Disney, but there's definitely some Disney magic put in. And if you wanted, you could make each house completely in your face Disney, because when you move into these houses, you're the one that gets to choose how you're going to decorate. You're the one that gets to choose, oh, I want to add this water feature or this. I mean, what do you want? You want to put a topiary in the backyard? You could do that too. But you get that opportunity to personalize the house and make it as Disney or non-Disney as you want. And that was something that was really cool to see and really cool to experience. I will also say the food was fed to us throughout the night by the team that is doing the Artisan Club foods, and a guy named Chef Ben is behind all of that. And the food was fantastic throughout the night. In fact, the whole 2-day adventure, the food was delicious, and I've been thinking about it for the last, I guess it's been about a week and a half now. But there's so much more to offer here. There is the Long Table Park, which is a 55 plus community, and that is exclusive. I think it's on the north side of Cotino to people who are 55 and older. And it does offer some specific amenities for what you can do in that age group. And a lot of it comes around to activities and community and things that you would want to do together with other people your age, which very cool. And you've got also the same, like you get to choose your houses, you get to modify them or design them the way you'd like to with the builders, and they will work with you on that. The Artisan Club is something that's available to all the residents of Cotino. It is for an additional cost, and with that, you get access to certain perks that mainly are found around Cotino Bay, which is this gorgeous bay that's in the middle of the desert. It's an oasis. It's beautiful. It's got this lovely hue of blue that isn't made by anything they put in the water. It's just the depth and the light and the ground, I guess, that's made up Cotino Bay and the colors, and they're made by Crystal Lagoons and absolutely gorgeous. And so Artisan Club members, they can go into the swim zones there. One of them's heated. I don't know why you would need it heated. Maybe in the winter it gets cold there, but when we were there, it was in the mid 90s, very hot, very dry. It was actually quite comfortable. Members also get access to watercraft. There's kayaks, there's paddle boards, some fun things to be active and to enjoy the water, and maybe be with the water, on the water, but not necessarily just swimming in the water. You also get access to a private white sand beach. In fact, there's multiple of those, and there's umbrellas, there's seatings, there's even little fire pits that are very lovely. There's an outdoor beach bar we'll get into in a minute. And then there's also a selection of cabanas that are available that you can reserve for a fee. You also get server assistance for this, for food and beverage needs as you do that. Some of the main amenities at the Artisan Club, though, includes the Architect's Fork. Say that fast 5 times. Architect's Fork is the main restaurant for the Artisan Club. It's themed to the process that the architects take when they're creating things. This is a great place for Disney fans and non-Disney fans, but as you're walking into this, you see different nods to both Disney, but also the region that you're in. So there's a massive chandelier over the bar that it turns out is an upside down topographical map of the mountains that are surrounding the Rancho Mirage area. And you can even see, if you look closely, like, yes, it has the different layers of stratification of where the mountains are, but you can look closely and see like little trails that go into the mountains. Also very cool. The bar, before I get into other details, it has one of the most beautiful views that I think is only going to get more beautiful as they continue to develop Cotino, because currently the half of Cotino Bay that you have the Artisan Club on is pretty much developed. Like they've flushed that out. You've got the par house, you've got the restaurant, you've got the wellness area, and you've got the studios. Across the way right now is basically just dirt and dust. And then beyond that, you see some trees and plants, and you can kind of see some other buildings. And then further beyond that, you see the mountains, which beyond the dirt, everything is beautiful. And once that area gets developed, I think this view is going to go from beautiful to stunning. And it just, the colors of the bay mixed with the colors of the mountains, especially at sunset or sunrise, beautiful. And so that's Architect's Fork's view from like it's all in the restaurant, but especially if you're sitting at that bar, gorgeous. So then turn around and look away from the bay and you're looking into the restaurant and you see there's drawings on the wall. And really what they are is they're kind of well they're recreations of different things that were designed by Disney for the parks. Like one of them that was pointed out to us was Small World, one of the details, which leads you to some other details that you would recognize from different parts and attractions of the Disney parks. Right above the tables that are against that wall, there are these really cool chandeliers that utilize pencils, architects' pencils, to make their design. And they're absolutely gorgeous as well. We do have video and photos of those up on Daps Magic and our YouTube as well, if you want to check those out. The result, though, is this very clever, modern, mid-century modern, as we're going to say a lot on this, feel that feels upscale, but also doesn't feel pretentious. It also has a little bit of a feel that like, oh yeah, I could work here. But I can't imagine somebody working there. It's so relaxing because you have this beautiful view. But it is a place where you can imagine designing, creating, and collaborating, which is kind of one of those themes I was discovering throughout our visit to Cotino. And you could totally imagine architects designing the space that basically is inspired by what they do in a place that they would find inspiring to do what they do. And it was a lot of fun. We had lunch there on the second day and got to taste a lot of the different offerings that are on the menu for the Artisan Club members. Delicious. Everything was. I'm still thinking about, there was a bacon wrapped date that was delicious. There was a salmon that was wonderful. There was, I think, a steak that I remember that was awesome, and a rib that was great. And just lots of different options that will change seasonally. Also, we got a chance to talk with some of the consultants that helped develop the menu and the concept for both Architect's Fork and Plot Twist, which is the beach bar. And they were talking about how what the plan is yes, you have these offerings, and some of them will be things that continue on in the future, and those will always be there. You know, they'll be kind of that foundational food that you just know, oh, I can go get this dish I really like. But then seasonally, and as they collaborate with members, they'll come up with new ideas and new offerings that you can have throughout the year. And maybe some of them come back, maybe some of them won't. But even the foods at Artisan Club are going to reach back and connect with that theme that I mentioned at the beginning, which is really about inspiration, creation, and collaboration. And all of them will feed into each other and work with each other as they're looking to build this community and this experience to live in. That, I was just on Lou Mangello's WW Radio talking about this. And we really both walked away from this experience thinking, oh, they kind of did in Rancho Mirage what Bob Iger said they were doing in Shanghai, which was it distinctly Disney, uniquely Chinese, or uniquely Chinese, distinctly Disney, whatever that exact plot or line was. And we really felt like they did that with Cotino and specifically the Artisan Club, because it really is. It's definitely Disney. Even if there's no Mickey Mouse, there's no, like, you could totally imagine the Incredibles walking around the corner at any moment in time as you're hanging out there. But it definitely still has that Disney DNA that you're like, oh, there's a level of quality, there's a level of imagination, whimsy that maybe you wouldn't find other places, and maybe these builders wouldn't build, and guarantee these builders wouldn't build in other places, but you can tell the Imagineers had some input as they were creating these things. I would love to go back to Architect's Fork and just enjoy a meal, just enjoy hanging out, chatting with people, enjoying particularly a sunset, because I think that getting to see two sunsets at Cotino in that area, I can see why people would like to live down there. It's kind of far away from where everything in my life is right now, and it would be much harder to cover Disneyland, but it's gorgeous down there. It really surprised me how beautiful it is. And I'm not a huge desert person. I do love being able to live by the ocean, but I totally understand now why people like to live down in the Palm Springs area. And I get why Walt liked it too, because you'd look at the mountains and the color. And I mean, it looked like a watercolor painting quite often in the the one, I guess I should say, sunrise that I saw and the two sunsets that I saw. And you're like, well, of course, look at how quiet it is. Look at how disconnected you feel, even though you're kind of in the middle of everything. This would definitely spur on imagination. And you can see why Walt Disney loved to visit that area. So the second culinary offering, I guess you could call it, for Artisan Club is the Plot Twist, which is the beach bar. It's down right by Cotino Bay. It's a fun place. So the way they did this is Plot Twist. They take kind of what the name is, the stories, and there you can see the written stories that influenced Disney movies and other things on the walls, hanging from the ceiling, and they created them in different mediums. And you can see photos and videos of this also up on Daps Magic. Particularly the walls were fun because it's almost like they took a book or multiple pages of books from different stories. And then you can see where it's like maybe someone who's creating a movie had circled this word, or they're in a meeting and so they drew this sketch on top of the story. And there's some hidden Mickeys down there. There's some there's a lot of different things to catch and to find, and references to Disney if you're smart and you're looking for them, or if you've been informed. But if you have some level of Disney knowledge and history knowledge, you're going to be able to find some fun little Easter eggs down there. They also have the bar that also serves some food there. They're going to have seasonal beverages. They're also going to have beverage making class or mixology classes. We got to experience one of those. Absolutely fantastic. Very fun. I am definitely by no stretch of the imagination a mixologist. I love to cook. Mixing beverages is not my thing. It's kind of like baking and mixology. Just, I missed that one, but I love to cook. And it was very fun to see how we could work with the Disney bartender and create this drink that just came to life in front of us. And it really was a lot of fun. And this will be one of the programming offerings that members of the Artisan Club could experience, or different ones where they learn different drinks as well. And we learned how to make one alcoholic drink. And then they also had a non-alcoholic drink that they showed us that had like a little fun fog effect that was very cool. They also have the Par House, which was just down the way. We'll get into that in a minute, because I think I should actually talk about the Wellness Center and outdoor sports courts, which are, if you're facing the bay, it's to your right. And so at the Wellness Center, you're getting to do some activities that maybe it's basically like a cardio class, a dance class, a different type of physical activity class that they partner with a theme for a Disney or Pixar movie. So one of the ones that we got to see and people could experience was an Encanto cardio dance class. And so they teach you a certain dance routine, and you do it at whatever level you can. And what was interesting to me is they had people demonstrating this. They're of all ages, look like all different backgrounds. And it made it look like to me like all of these physical classes are something that people of different skill levels, activity levels, whatever it is, it's very accessible, age levels. And it seemed like something that could kind of cross a lot of those divides and be something that like, oh, I'm really a good dancer, I'll have fun with this. Oh, I've never danced before, I'll have fun with this. Oh, I have tons of energy, this will be great. I don't have a lot of energy, it'll be great. And so I think it's very much a come as you are, connect as you can, and build your wellness. And that was one of the themes that we also noticed throughout Cotino, is they're not just focusing on a fun place to live. They're trying to make a healthy place to live. So they're trying to help people with their physical health, their emotional health. We heard mind, body, and spirit quite often. They're also even have tools there and programs there to help with financial health, which with some of these prices you might need if you're kind of stretching things just to get into that experience, into that community. And that was something that was very interesting to me as we went around. the whole complex. But so they have the wellness center that are offering kind of those physical classes or programming that you can do that are in this really lovely studio that overlooks Cotino Bay, which is just a wonderful way to have to work out if you're going to do that. They also had sports courts that were nearby. If you want to play tennis, pickleball, whatever that is, you could do that. There were pools and really just a lot of different options for how you could stay active, how you could stay healthy, and really invest in personal wellness, whatever that looks like. There's also a creative studio. Speaking of investing in personal wellness, creativity is such a good way to invest in your psychological health, and so they're going to have different programs there as well, whether it's something from the Walt Disney Archives where, maybe Becky Klein comes down like she did for the media preview and they talk about Walt Disney in the Palm Springs region, Palm Desert, or maybe the movies that were filmed in the region as well. They might also have in fact, one of the other programs that they mentioned was a photography course where a National Geographic photographer would come in and teach how to take pictures, maybe with just an iPhone, but really connect with people so that they can learn something, experience something, and better a skill at something as they're going through these programs. I could totally imagine there being painting programs, and just like all of the food offerings and the other things that we heard about, these programs will also be somewhat dictated by the members who join the Artisan Club. And so going back to that collaboration thing, collaboration will be a big part of what comes into or what is put into the programming and what comes out of that. They also mentioned going to Disneyland as a group together after hearing from a show director. Like maybe you hear the show director for Paint the Night, and then afterwards you go to Disneyland and you get to watch Paint the Night together or something like that. But lots of different options for programming that will really cover a wide range of different disciplines. And I think that's something that Disney brings to the table in a very good way because there are so many disciplines that are covered throughout the company. You think of how many are just in Walt Disney Imagineering alone, but then you go into the other businesses of the Walt Disney Company, and you really have a sky is the limit of possibilities for what these programs could be. And I think that's something that could be very exciting about living in a place like this, because I really feel like if you're living there and you're like, oh, I really like this, maybe you want to learn more about animation. Great. We happen to have animators in our company. Or maybe you want to learn more about the process of concept design or architecture or rock molding. I don't know. All of these things they will have access to because the Walt Disney Company has so many different things that it does now, and that's just creates more possibilities and more value to the business as it goes on. Because as much as we forget it quite often, the Walt Disney Company is a business. It is in existence because it needs to make profit along with entertain, inspire, and educate, I guess you could say. But that's my little tangent there. Par House, one of my favorite things that's a part of the Artisan Club. This literally, you walk around the corner, and I love how they did it for us because we didn't really see it until we'd already had lunch. And you walk around the corner, there's this lovely yard, there's this rock garden or desert garden that's leading up to the house. And you see this house, and it's got rock work that's going both in and out of it. And it's sitting above this little, I almost want to call it a little cove that's a part of Cotino Bay. And there's areas to sit there in front of the cove and in front of the house. But the house itself looks exactly like what you see in Incredibles 2. So yes, Incredibles 2, the Parr family go and live in this house in the jungle, and it's got this fantastic mid-century modern look with these gorgeous floor-to-ceiling on the second floor windows that you could just look out and see everything. And that's exactly what you see. You get the angular windows and that wonderful triangle feel to it or trapezoid feel. I don't know what it is. Anyway, you get, it looks like they picked up the house from the movie and they plopped it right there in Cotino and did whatever magic, Tron magic or whatever, to make a animated building work in real life. And so you walk up to it and you can totally imagine the Incredibles living in it, walking around it, whatever. Then you walk in the front door, and the front door is kind of in the back of the house in a way, because as you walk through the front door, you are facing now those windows and the bay. And it's absolutely gorgeous as you're walking through there and the lights coming in and you see the water and you see the mountains, and it really plays to the strength of the Palm Desert area and really allowing the natural beauty coming in, coupled with this beautiful house and the Disney designers and the magic that only Disney could create something like this, because another company might have made it feel cartoony, and it doesn't feel cartoony at all. Like, they took the cartoon out of it and they made a physical recreation of what you would expect. Like, the couches are circular. There's a little fireplace in the rockwork, just like the movie. There's a TV that has that old school feel that you're like, oh yeah, I can imagine the Incredibles watching TV here. No, it doesn't go up and down like in the movie, but it looks like it could. It's great. Then you go into the kitchen, and the kitchen feels like it's from 50, 60 years ago, and it's gorgeous. Like, the colors are vibrant. There's little nods to the movies and the characters that are spread throughout the house, including the kitchen, including a calendar that's popping into my head as I'm talking about this. And the kitchen is one that you could cook in, but it's also one that you can entertain in. And it's got kind of a dining area off to the side. And it's just gorgeous. And the wonderful thing that they thought through with this is, let's say you want to rent the Par House and you want it for a birthday party or a holiday party, whatever, and or something for your business. You can still use the kitchen. Maybe you're using the kitchen for serving beverages or foods or hors d'oeuvres or something. And you could bring in a team that's going to cook and make things for you. And they can there's a secret kitchen right behind the main kitchen so that they can prep everything and serve it and create this experience that's leveled up and really is awesome. And we got to see that firsthand after the opening night of the Artisan Club. And the great thing with that is it creates possibilities for different uses. You can, as a member, you can rent it to stay overnight. And there's 6 bedrooms, so you can fit a lot of people. You can also use this for a business getaway. So let's say you live in Cotino, you're an Artisan Club member, and you're like, hey, I want to have an executive meeting in a really cool place. There's even a boardroom in there if you really want to go that way. I don't know why you'd want to use a boardroom. Like, I do know why you'd use it, because it's a very high-tech modern boardroom that feels like it's from 60 years ago. But like, I would want to use the living room and get that gorgeous view. But you can use it for that. You can use it for parties. There's so many different options for what you could do with this location, and so much room. So basically everything I've just described to you is all downstairs. And then you go upstairs and there's bedrooms. I think there was a bedroom downstairs too, if I recall. We've got the tour up on YouTube. And in each room, you can also be like, oh yeah, this is where Edna Mode stays. Oh yeah, clearly Dash, whatever. And you get to really get that experience of thinking, this feels inspired by the characters, but it's not throwing them in your face. It's wallpaper, it's subtle nods that if you don't know the movie, if you're not a Disney fan or a Pixar fan, you're gonna be like, oh, that's nice. But if you do know, you're like, oh, that's so cool. And there's toys in some of the rooms, like decorative things, and little decorations that are found throughout the house that definitely are nods to the movie. But once again, if you don't know the movie or if you don't know Disney Pixar, you're just going to think, oh, that looks nice. It feels fitting with the vibe they've created for this house. And that's something I thought was really cool that they did. And I look forward to seeing the different ways it's used, if we're ever allowed to see that. I don't know. And it'll be fun to see as time goes on. All right, that's the Par House. I think we went through programming. There's a lot of different things that you can do with that. These all are run by Disney cast members. So all of the stuff for Artisan Club, I believe the entire Cotino is actually day-to-day operated by Disney cast members. So with that, you're getting, the Disney entertainment and events stuff that you'd expect from the Walt Disney Company for special occasions, which really is a part of their programming as I'm thinking about it. But you're also getting, the dining cast members, the chefs and the cooks, the club programming activities, even general membership inquiries are taken care of by Disney cast members. The operation teams for both the social and the recreational experiences, Disney cast members. I already mentioned the chef and the culinary team. There's also an entertainment team that's to create and implement Disney programming and events. That goes kind of, they all circle back to each other. There's also very important a communications team that will keep members basically informed on what's going on. Very important also. And then there's a booking team or an events team for the Artisan Club event spaces and coordinate special member events. Very important because I can only imagine how popular some of these things will be. And I'm assuming you can book different areas around the Artisan Club beyond the Par House. And, so maybe you have a huge birthday party and you want to rent Architect's Fork. I would assume there's a way to do that. I don't know that for a fact, but it would make sense. And just running the Par House, I can only imagine how much of a job that's going to be. And we were not joking, I guess, but we were having a little bit of fun wondering who's going to be that first person to rent the Par Club or the Par House and be able to be like, oh yeah, I was the first Artisan Club member to rent the Par House, and someday we'll find out, maybe, probably not, but we can wish. All right, so you've heard the general gist of what is offered. Here comes the fun part. How much is it? So the Artisan Club fees. The resident membership, which is just baseline Artisan Club resident membership, you're looking at initiation of about $11,000 with annual dues of $2,000. And then you also have an annual food and beverage minimum of $1,000. If you want to get the Artisan Club resident with an extended membership, so the regular membership, think of like core family, and then the extended membership, maybe grandma and grandpa and a little bit of extended family gets included as well. That has an initiation of $20,000, which is a one-time fee, annual dues of $19,000, and then your annual food and beverage minimum, $2,000. So any Disney fan is probably thinking right now, well, the annual food and beverage minimum, that makes about sense. Like that makes sense. You probably spend that much if you're a regular park goer on Disney foods throughout the year. I also found it interesting, the annual dues for the regular resident membership. Let's say it's a family of 4. Those are $2,000. So in my head, I'm thinking through, Magic Keys, annual passes, things like that. Basically, it's $500 for a family of 4. That's $500 a person. It's a lot of money. It's also kind of a reasonable amount of money, it seemed like, for me on an annual basis. The initiation fee of $11,000 gets your foot in the door, or $19,000, or what is it, $20,000, excuse me, gets your foot in the door. And I really feel like at the end of the day, those prices show you're serious about being a part of the Artisan Club experience and being part of that community. And really, that's something we see with a lot of this. But I think it's not just paying a due. It's actually investing in the community that is that Storyliving community that Disney's building, and saying, I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is, and I'm going to be a part of that community, and I'm going to be an active part of that community and help make that really happen. If that's how it all plays out, who knows? We will see. This is the grand experiment, and it'll be fun to see where this goes, how successful it is, what it leads to. Like, will there be more after this next one on the East Coast, or will they stop with 2? We don't know. From what we saw last week, I would not be surprised at all if we see more of this. So what is the Cotino, a Storyliving by Disney community, really all about? This is all about community. Like, it's in the name. You get to live at Cotino. You get to enjoy walking around the paths. You get the promenade at Cotino Bay, which goes all the way around the outside. And then there's an equestrian themed dog park. At its basic level, it's a community that you live in that has that Disney difference. You get to pick from those three home collections, whether it's the cottage, the grand, or the estate level. And you're starting off at 1.4, $1.5 million to get in at a base level, which if you've looked at prices in Orange County, or especially Southern Orange County, not that far off from what people are already paying, but you're getting it in a community that has that Disney difference, that Disney DNA, that Walt Disney Imagineers have come in and really put that little sparkle of pixie dust on it that maybe isn't quantifiable everywhere, but you definitely know it, you feel it. And as you're wandering around the community and experiencing and looking at these different houses, you can tell that there is that Disney thought process that uses the lessons they've learned on hotels, cruise ships, offices, theme parks, attractions. They've used those lessons from across the company to create a living experience, both in the community and also in the homes, they're really something special. And that surprised me going into it, because I was a little bit not confused. I guess I just didn't quite understand it. And now that I've been there, just like so many things that we cover, it's one thing to see it on YouTube, to read about it, to look at pictures. But when you really experience it, you're like, okay, this is what it's about. And it really is a community that's about creating, inspiring, and collaboration. It's also one of those things that it's not going to be for everybody. There's definitely a niche that this is filling. Like, this isn't necessarily, I'm sure people that aren't Disney fans will live there, like, just because the Disney brand stands for quality and going the extra mile. But I would assume this is a community that people that are the right demographic are absolutely going to love. And maybe they're entry-level Disney fans and they like the idea of it, and they like the community of it, and they like the the offerings and the programming, all of that, and that's appealing to them. Disney fans that are hardcore Disney fans are also going to love this, because they're going to come in and they're going to see, they're going to find that hidden Mickey in that there's a sculpture that is over by the wellness center that has a hidden Mickey in it, and it's kind of a garden sculpture thing that look like cactus that are made out of metal, and I think it was metal. But there's hidden Mickeys found out. There's details found throughout the Artisan Club, and there's something appealing to a heavy Disney fan, a really deep Disney fan, about being able to live in a Disney community. So they're going to love that too. The question also will become, is it worth it? I don't know. Like, if you asked anybody who was at that media event, they were all like, how can we make this happen? We'd love to live there. I could imagine it being a wonderful place when I'm retired. If I were to somehow, fall on millions of dollars and money was no option, I'm like, oh yeah, I'd absolutely live there. Or maybe you want to have a second house if you can afford that. It's not something that I don't think people that are already worried about how much Disney is charging for things are going to want to stay there, because it does have at face value, oh, it's a lot of money. Oh, the Artisan Club is expensive. Oh, these extra things, like, they just keep adding up. But what it's offering is also, like, you don't get these things for free. And so I think if that's a value that you find important, like, if you want to have an architect's fork, if you want to have a plot twist, you want these kind of experiences that are exclusive, that are unique to you, kind of the Club 33 sort of thing, then this is a place that's probably appealing, and you'll think it's worth it. If it's something where you're looking for a good deal and you're looking for discounts and you're trying to get the best bang for your buck, it might not be the thing that you find worth it. I think the people that do find it worth it are going to make it happen, and they're gonna find it worthwhile, and other people won't. And that's just kind of the thing that happens with these types of endeavors. It's like a Disney cruise line. Disney cruise lines are way more expensive than, say, if you go on Royal Caribbean or Princess or whatever. But there's a value that Disney brings to these experiences that really connects with its fan base. And there's all sorts of different fans that go to, the Disney Cruise Line experiences or go on the Disney Cruise Line ships. And they find value in that experience more than going on a Disney, or not a Disney, a Royal Caribbean or a Princess or a Carnival, which are great cruises also. They just offer a different experience and a different value and a different proposition for what you get for your dollar. And I think that's really what it comes down to with Cotino. And, where I'm at in life, is it worth it? No, because I'd be bankrupt. But do I appreciate it? Would I love to be able to live in something like this? Absolutely. I think the thing that really makes it worth it to me is the culture they're creating. And if they're successful at this, which it looks like all of the foundational pieces are in place for this, like, I think it's very exciting to live in a community that's a rotating circle, or it's going back and forth between the inspiration, creation, and collaboration. Like, that's an exciting type of culture to me, because to make those things work, you have to have a safe environment. You have to have an environment where people can come up with ideas, good or bad, and people are celebrated and best ideas win. And those kind of things I think are fantastic. And you look at the sunset on the mountains and the bay, like all of that, gorgeous. Is it traditional necessarily Rancho Mirage or Palm Desert? Maybe, maybe not. It's not a recreation of Smoke Tree Ranch, that's for sure. But it does create something that's special and distinctly Disney that I look forward to seeing how it grows and evolves. And one of the things that is going to happen as it grows and evolves is it's going to have a beach and a dining and a shop area that will be open to the public. And they've already announced some of the new tenants that are coming into there. First off, you will be able to buy a day ticket to enjoy the Cotino Bay Beach. And that means you can enjoy swimming and you can rent kayaks and paddle boards, but you're on the other side of the bay from where the Artisan Club members are. So it's almost like a non-Artisan Club membership without all of the buildings amenities, but you can enjoy it. You can enjoy the water and the fun. And so members of Rancho Mirage or tourists or whatever can come down and enjoy Cotino Bay for the day. There's also going to be a restaurant called Elevar, which is American cuisine. There will be a new coffee shop. In fact, I think this coffee shop is coming to the United States for the first time. It's been around for 26 years. I think it's called Artigiano. I'm probably saying that wrong. There's also going to be a place that's basically a grab and go place that's already in Rancho Mirage. It's called On the Mark Fine Foods and Provisions. So if you're from Rancho Mirage, you're already going to know this. For those that aren't from Rancho Mirage, they're now going to be introduced to this. And I'm sure the hope is, oh, you love it and you go find the other one. Kaga Yaga is a yoga studio that will have 2 studios, a retail boutique, and accessories and essentials. And that'll also have classes for both kids and families. And this will all be part of that public entrance on I think it's the east side of Cotino that can be enjoyed by anybody. And that will be opening next fall, from what I think. The other question that's popping up on me or in my head is this the first of many Storyliving by Disney communities from the Walt Disney Company? And this is going to be interesting because it's very possible that it is. And even if it's not, it's going to change the future of the company. So it could be that this leads to the one on the East Coast. And they're like, you know what? We've told the 2 stories that we're going to tell. And we've created these 2 communities and they keep continuing to move forward. And then eventually they just do that. Like, that's it. It could also lead to more options in the future where, maybe there's one that goes up in Seattle or Minneapolis or Chicago or some other random place. Actually, probably none of those 3 now that I'm saying them, because they're all big cities. And I would tend to guess they will go a little bit further out from big cities so that they can create that really distinct Disney thing. I really think they're going to try to create places where they can make it distinctly Disney and embrace the local culture and the local stories and the local communities, and not be overtaking it, like really connect with it. I had that feeling that Storyliving by Disney almost has that Disney's Animal Kingdom feel, where it's really trying to be one with nature, one with the community, one with the world around us. And and do that in multiple different ways. And that was fun to see and to experience and to feel, because it's not exactly like there's no fireworks here. There's no, I mentioned it several times, but there's no characters there either. It really is trying to find the magic in the community that already exists and then add a little bit of Disney magic to it. And so I think that's something you could do in lots of places, and it would be interesting to see if this grows throughout the country to multiple places and gives people that kind of, this is how I get my Disney fix since I don't live near a Disney theme park or a Disney cruise line ship or port or whatever. It could also end up being that these end up being Disney destinations too. I could easily see that Storyliving by Disney Cotino being a place where it's almost like a mini Disney vacation place. So if you look at the concept arts for the future, there is the possibility for there being condos. There is the possibility, not announced, as they told us multiple times, and it sounds like no plans for hotels. This could be your entry level Disney connection. If they put one in the middle of Illinois or in the middle of Wisconsin or something. This could be your regional, it's not a theme park, but it is a Disney destination that you can enjoy. And it'll be very interesting to see how that progresses and how people react to that and what they think of it. It says, I think back about Cotino, a Storyliving by Disney community. I will say I'm very surprised as I'm thinking more and more about this. When I went into it, I was thinking this is something that I won't connect with necessarily, because I felt like the price thing would probably make it something that it just wouldn't connect with me as a person that came from, upper Midwest and out to California that still definitely has Midwest roots. But what I will say is that the more I've thought about this is Disney is trying something new, which I like. They're taking a risk. They're bringing the lessons they've learned from over 70 years, 100 years, like really 70 years, because it started with Disneyland. But they've learned the lessons of building communities, of building around the communities of theme parks, in working with government and creating flows of traffic, even like all of these lessons they've learned throughout the company over the last 7 decades, they've put into Cotino. And I think if people get to see and experience this and go on the tours, it's going to be something that's pretty popular. I would not be surprised at all if this is one of those things that gets critical mass. And, not super far down the line, you suddenly notice there's a ton of houses popping in here, because you do have to go through the process of each person saying, hey, I want to do this, then deciding what kind of house they have, then modifying it. And then after all of that designing and conceptualizing, all of that stuff happens, then you actually get to build the darn thing. And that's a process. So it'll be interesting to see how that does. It'll also be interesting to see how that's replicated on the East Coast with the second one. And I would not be surprised at all if this ends up being something that really catches on, depending on how the economy goes, depending on how, the company goes, because there will be a new CEO in the next year, basically. And those kind of things can change the trajectory of an initiative like this, because it definitely does have a niche. Like, you do have to have money to live in Cotino and be a member of the Artisan Club. And if money becomes more scarce, I could see that being a problem for this Storyliving by Disney concept. If things continue to go kind of as they are, I could really see this becoming a popular thing. The programming could be amazing. The experiences could be amazing if they keep the quality level up of the food and the physical amenities of Cotino. That's something I think that's very attractive. I would love to go back in like a year and then 5 years just to see how it develops and how the culture continues and how the quality continues, and just to see how this thing operates on a day-to-day basis, as opposed to hey, we just opened, and all of that, both good and bad, that comes with that. Because when you just open something, yes, you're bringing your A game and you've got all these ideas, but there's also all the things you don't know and the law of unintended consequences. And it'll be very interesting to see once they've gotten on a like, what's that course that they take that they're like, oh, this is the way this works. it'll be interesting to see how it operates and how it feels and how it moves, and then how it's replicated on the East Coast. And I can't wait to see what that looks like, and to see what that feels like, perhaps more importantly, and to see what a Cotino that has all of these new, the public beach, the public dining and shops, like once it has the full community, because right now it's halfway there. It's got a ways to go still. And it'll be fun to see as it evolves and gets more complete, what that community feels like, what it looks like, and how that inspiration, creation, and collaboration continues. Because if it does continue in a healthy way, we're looking at something very, very exciting. Thank you for listening to this episode of Daps Magic, the podcast. And thank you in general for your support. I really do appreciate this. I get to do things like this because people like you listen and watch our podcasts, or maybe you read our content on Daps Magic, whatever it is. You engage with our community both online and in the parks, and that enables me to cover things like Cotino, and I really appreciate it. As I look back at this visit of Cotino, I can't help but be thankful for the opportunity, and it really was only possible because of people like you. If you're looking for more Disney and positive stuff, this is the right place to be. Along with checking out all of our content on dapsmagic.com, we'd also love to chat with you about all of the fun things that are going on in the realm of Disney and positive stuff. We do this on our Facebook group, or if you'd like more behind the scenes looks, access, and conversation with the Daps Magic team, or even our After Geeks Corner special show, connect with us on Patreon. And you can get access to those Patreon exclusive live streams, updates, photos, and a whole lot more. We'd love to see you there. Thank you again for listening to Daps Magic, the podcast. I appreciate you, your friendship, and your support. Make it a great week, everybody, and keep kind.